Happy New Year to one and all. The first proper official day is the third day of 2017. Can you imagine 2017 is 3 days old already? But Happy New Year, and if you made it through, you have to be extra grateful and thankful to the Almighty. But we have been through a turmoil. I mean, it's been 4 years of persistent and heated politics, from the Supreme Court, after the Supreme Court, campaigning, and the campaigning brought a sharp division right from the top to the bottom. This nation was split in two. There wasn't anything that we could decide on as a nation. Everything was either MPP or NDC, be it floods, be it bank loans that go wrong, be it wrong investment, whatever it is, the decision had to be whether it was MPP or NDC. Even choice of words. Is the economy challenged or is the economy in crisis? Depending on where you are, you had to choose which phrase to describe the economy. I mean, that's how bad things go. And then it got to the end where it became tribal, where we're using our religion against each other. But God being so kind, it's all over now. What next? Do we still stay divided and hope that maybe next 4 or 5 years power will switch to the other hand? Or do we unite? And that's what we are talking about today. Uniting the nation after elections. Very important. Very important. And to talk about something important, I have two very important personalities to discuss this issue. And something tells me that this is a part one of this show and that the part two will be coming later. My name is Nana Nsakwa, the fourth Chief of Akwemwe Dumasa, and also your host. And when I come back, we are trying to unite the nation after this heated election. Don't go. Well, thank you very much. Good to be back. Good to be back indeed. I have really missed my crew, everybody, my director who's always screaming in my ears, and you at home. Good to be back. And if you're watching, you know what, be very grateful indeed. Count all your little blessings, even your ability to fetch water to drink, your ability to walk to the bathroom, to use the loo on your own. Count all that as your blessings, because you know what? Not everyone is that privileged. And so as for me, I am very blessed and I'm very thankful. And so my very important guest in the studio today, sat right next to me, is Bishop Samuel Mensah, who is president of the Full Gospel Church International, no stranger to the show, and also an author. He's an author, a motivational speaker, and trainer of leaders, if I may say. Right. He's a very inspired person. If you haven't met him, you've missed out a lot. Bishop, you're welcome again.
Thank you, Nana. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. And then my grandfather by default, Reverend Dr. Kwabena Opueni Frimpong, General Secretary of the Christian Council of Ghana. Grandpa, you're welcome. Yeah, he's grandpa by default. He hasn't got a choice. But we're looking at uniting the nations after elections. We shouldn't take it lightly at all. I'll start with Bishop Samuel Mensah. And the reason why I'll start with that is that Bishop actually held a sermon in his church titled Building a Nation After Elections. It's one thing that I remember when Grandpa was on the show the other time, I charged him that maybe some of the ills in society, we can blame it on the church, because most of us are all Christians and we go through church. And if we come from church and come back and do all these things, then maybe the pastor or the preacher did not educate us that these things are not done. So if Bishop is leading on this, then I will start. Bishop, I mean, one would say, I mean, normally you go to church and it's, cast your bread in the water or miracles or, it's not your typical church sermon. So I want to start by saying, why would you choose building a nation after elections as a Sunday sermon?
Well, thank you very much, Nana, and good to see and the Reverend Dr. Bonifrepon, very great guy. And I must say that God has been so good to us as a nation. We have gone through a very peaceful and successful elections. Credit to all major institutions and state agencies that have contributed to our successful elections. But we chose this because, one, we have gone through a lot of bickering and fighting in-house, insulting each other. But the most important now is, how do we build this nation together? And for me, that was very important, and I felt that doing that would depend upon the incoming leader as to he setting the tone and he driving it. You know, it is always said that if you want to check the temperature of a room or the environment, put the thermometer under the armpits of the leader. The readings will tell you the temperature of the people. And so for me, the leader plays a major critical role in unifying the people and the society and the nation. And hence, the citizenry, for me, two important things: responsible leadership and responsible citizenry. That will contribute to a united country. That is why we had to look into that scripture and that sermon.
I'll come to Grandpa, who's General Secretary for the Christian Council, Reverend Bonifrepon. Rev, you've also issued a statement about building confidence, building the confidence after election. I mean, what would you mean?
Yeah, Nana, let me also say a happy new year to our cherished viewers who have allowed us to invade their homes, their bedrooms, and all that. And pray that this year will be a good year for us as a nation, as families, and all sectors of our national life. In fact, we had also, like my brother Bishop said, issue a statement on national cohesion after the elections, and then also national confidence. And we are with him that we must admit that towards the election, we've hurt ourselves, both inter and intra, within individual political parties, especially NDC, NPP. They've hurt themselves. And then other people, civil society, other sectors have been hurt to the extent that people were calling even gods, cursing themselves, you know. And you had traditional leaders who have hurt their people because of certain statements they made. So we must admit that we've hurt ourselves and work towards healing the wounds of our history, the wounds of our past. But having said that, there's also a need as a people for us to pay attention to national confidence. You know, I will pick this from Exodus chapter 4, verse 2. Now, God called Moses with a task: go and do something. This is a new year. New year will come with opportunities, but challenges. When God wanted Moses to do something, he looked within himself and he felt he was helpless, hopeless. He saw strength and power outside himself. And therefore he wanted to say that, who am I to face these challenges? And God asked a simple question: what do you have? What do you have in your hands? As if to say, instead of looking for strength outside yourself, look for strength within yourself. We have something. Now, the new administration during the campaign told everybody that, oh, one district, one factory. Now, if we succeed, if they succeed to have one district, one factory, and Ghanaians don't have confidence in ourselves, in the products that will come from those factories, within months, years, we'll collapse all those factories that now have sparked hope in Ghanaians. You know, they are talking about dams in the northern part of Ghana. You need dams to cultivate, to get rice production and stuff like that. Now, if Ghanaians don't have confidence in rice produced in Ghana, and we have taste for perfume rice coming from China, the dams will be there. They will use them to produce rice. Within matter of months, years, we'll collapse all those things. They are talking about free education. If Ghanaians don't have confidence in that free education, in fact, sometimes our leaders themselves don't even trust the educational programs they roll, to the extent that while they are giving you community day school, free education, their children are in expensive school where they are paying pounds, sterling, dollars for their children education. Some of them send even their children outside Ghana for education. And if you, the leaders, don't have confidence in your own educational program, your health institutions, who do you want to trust that? So we are saying that, yes, we have new opportunities, come with new challenges. We need to find strength within ourselves. One way of doing it is to identify and develop our own confidence and build. And this is something like my brother said earlier on. Our national leaders must roll up consciously pragmatic programs to develop and renew our national confidence in our programs, people, and state institutions.
Let me come to Bishop. Bishop, there must be a shared vision.
Yeah.
Should it be a shared vision, or should the leader say, look, this is where I'm going, and look, follow me there?
You see, vision is the navigational system that tells a leader where he's going, how far he's going, and how high he will want to get there, and how fast he wants to get there. It is the navigational system that drives a leader, that tells a leader, this is where we want to go, and this is how we want to get there. Now, for the incoming leader or the president-elect, he cannot unify a country if there is no shared vision. And for me, to even have a shared vision, first of all, he needs to let the nation know what is the true state of the nation. Okay, he must give us the reality of the true state of the nation. Perhaps we've been told President Mahama will give us the State of the Nation address before he finally, bows out. But he must also come out with the true state of the nation. Nana, because the point is that expectations are extremely high. And you cannot move from point A to point B if we don't know the reality of where we are at point A. For people to appreciate the challenges and the difficulties and how you can drag and move them from that point A to point B. So it is very critical. He must give us the real state of the nation. It shouldn't be polarized. It shouldn't be politicized. It should be the facts. And then you would be able to move the people. This is where we are. These are the options I have, or these are the opportunities we have. What are the obstacles? How can we overcome the challenges of our current state? And then this is where we want to take the people to. That is very important if you want the people to buy in. You see, because before people will jump in, they need to know exactly where they are and where they want to go. And then he must also manage the expectations of the people. People are having high hopes. And you know what? This one district, one dam, $1 million for one district, every industries in every district. You can't do all in 1 year. And perhaps even a whole term, 4-year term may be extremely challenging. So that should be prioritized. If that is not done, the hope of the nation can be crushed. So that is why shared vision is very critical if you will have to move the people. They must buy into the vision. Vision also starts with one man, but it ends with the people. People must take ownership of the vision. They must buy into the vision, and then you will drive them into their destination. That is why shared vision is very critical for any leader.
Also for you, sort of not in agreement, but won't that, let me go opening, won't it bring back the previous government sagas, like passing the bag on, oh, the coffers are empty, this is empty? Haven't we heard it too many times?
I like how he put it, that the real estate, and let's be truthful.
Yeah.
You see, that we must know when politics stop for governance to begin. You see, so if it happens that we have money in the system, they shouldn't come and tell us we are meeting empty.
Exactly.
But if they say it's empty, it must be true and true. The records everywhere. I have problem with sometimes whose source of information is out there, because one will tell us everything is cool. Then the next morning you hear everything is dry. So let's be truthful to ourselves. But let us, like I said earlier on, allow governance. Now politics, yes, NDC, NPP. Governance, we need everybody. We need everybody. So we must get everybody on board, because at the end of the day, democracy must make life meaningful for our people. We are talking about quality of education, good health facility. The roads must be done, and done very well. employment and jobs must be there. You know, our economy must be strong. There must be hope for young people that after school they will get employment. And if somebody has already built a foundation that we must build on, we should be bold enough to say, this is good, we will build it, rather than eroding everything and creating impression that these people were a bunch of group that have wasted our resources and all that. You know, I have been to Kumasi and other places. You go to Asokore Mampo and you see wonderful buildings, roofed, story buildings. They've been left there how many years? You know, and now we don't know. Whole people are waiting for aerodrome or airport. People in the north, there are roads that have been started. KJT Kumasi people are waiting that the stores will be done. You know, projects here and there. So no matter what the new vision that the new administration will come, we should not throw away the resources that have been invested in the name of politics. NDC did it, and if you complete it, they will get the credit. If that will give job to the ordinary Ghanaian, if that will give food to the ordinary person, if the hospitals, Ridge and other places, if we get them completed, it will provide or add to the quality health facility that ordinary people are waiting for. You see, governance must make life better. They are here to do something, not what they become. Our leaders come into politics in no time. They have police people with guns surrounding them. They have nice V8 cars. They have, when we are all in traffic, they blow their horns. We must give way for the, instead of solving the problem, making sure that the traffic is, you know, you ask me to park my car and allow you, you come into governance to become, not to do. You see, so if there are structures others have built that they must build on, they must do that for the ordinary people to have some kind of dignity. And this is what we expect from the new administration. It should not be politics as usual. It should be politics as unusual. That this is good, we will go for it. This is good for the ordinary. Issues about human dignity, issues about human rights, issues about employment. We must think about Ghanaian youth. We must give hope to Ghanaian young people that this is the right place to be. And if we want to do that, continuity must be upheld.
And I think Nana to probably add up to what Reverend Doctor just said. You see, basically, to add up to it is the incoming government, or for that matter, any leader at all, we must stop blaming the previous government for the problems we have inherited. You know, in leadership, when you take up a position, your first year, you can hold your predecessor responsible for the challenges that you have inherited. In governance, 100 days, you can hold the previous administration for the problems you've inherited. But after that, you take ownership. The problem is your problem. It is no more the previous administration. As a matter of fact, that is why there was a change of administration. So they have brought you in not to give excuses and blame the previous government for all the problems you have inherited.
We can go all the way back to Buziao.
Exactly.
They behave like that.
Exactly. You know, do you know this current administration for the past 8 years have been blaming Kufuor's administration for the problems they are solving?
Dumso.
You don't do that in leadership.
What did you, you know, they are always accusing that, oh, but you didn't do this, but when you were there, what did you do, and that kind of thing.
You
and ordinary
take
people were suffering, businesses were collapsing.
You take ownership of your problem. The problem is now yours. Once you take responsibility of your position, the problem is yours to fix. One cardinal principle for leaders is that leaders solve problems despite obstacles. They don't come up with excuses. They don't come to explain problems. They fix problems. And so the incoming administration should also ensure that ministers that are assigned to various sectors should not blame their predecessors for the problems they've inherited in the various sectors. The problems are now theirs to fix and to get things done. When we do that, we are beginning to unify the nation and to drive the people. Remember, there are about 4 million people who didn't vote for the incoming administration. The moment you start attacking a leader, you are invariably attacking their followers. So their followers will jump on you, and then you wouldn't gain their support. That is a mistake leaders miss. You must honor the previous leader. When you do that, you are honoring the followers too in addition. So the new administration should take ownership of the problem and drive it. It is theirs to fix.
So before I move, is it not the fear that if I honor the follower, in other words, I'm telling him that, oh, well, he was good enough, probably he should have stayed. And our politics is such that you have to look bad so that I stay in power.
We must grow. We must show some maturity. You know, let us be inspired by the advanced countries. And I must honor you for the things you have done. The good things you have done, I should give you credit. For example, if I'm going to continue a project that the previous administration has left, and one we are commissioning, we should give credit where credit is due and admit that, listen, this was started, we have finished it. It is Ghana that gains the glory and the credit. You know, so it takes a matured and a smart leader to honor previous leaders for the good work they are doing.
So let me stay with you with, you know, everybody must contribute to build the nation of Ghana. It boils back to the same question that, you know, those who are pro-NDC now, I mean, if they contribute to build, it means they never get turned to, you know, have a bite at the pie. So I have to contribute to sort of, you know, put hindrance in your way so you don't look good, so that in 4 years' time I can come and say, you see, he's not too good, give me a chance.
I think you cannot build a society and drive a nation with a divided group of people. You know, looking at the scriptures, Jesus Christ is the reason for our celebration of Christmas and all that we have just celebrated over the past 1 week. When he came on the scene, he did great work, miracles in Capernaum, in Bethsaida, in the entire nation of Israel. But in his own hometown, for lack of better expression, he failed woefully. Bible said he couldn't do any miracle in Nazareth. Why? It was because of the attitude of the people. They didn't believe in him. No leader can succeed if the attitude of the citizenry is bad. Believe me, you can change a leader at the Jubilee House, but if the citizenry wouldn't change their attitude, put even an angel in the Jubilee House, he will fail. So for the nation to move forward, two things are needed: responsible leadership and responsible citizenry. We must throw away our negative attitude, the pulling down attitude, you know, the backbiting, drawing people backwards, not wanting people to succeed, insincerity, you know, irresponsible, law and order has broken down. These are attitudes that we must make sure that we will kill it if we want a leader to succeed. And the leader must ask everybody, I need everybody on board. Whether MPP, NDC, XYZ, I need everybody. The leader must show the way and demonstrate the way. One of the things that he needs to do also is, you don't decorate, you know, when you are commissioning a project, you don't decorate the project with party colors. The moment you start doing that, you are sending the wrong signal. You know, one of the reasons why this National Sanitation Day, it was a great idea, but one of the reasons why it couldn't really be sustained, it became a party thing. On that day, you see a lot of people with party colors, you know, and then the rest of the nation is saying, well, if that is their party agenda, let them drive it. But it's a noble idea. It's a novelty. But you see, the moment we start clouding, you know, national programs with party colors, you are cutting away 4 million people, and they will begin to create trouble for you. So it is important the leader must invite everybody to come on board to drive the nation.
with the national cleaning, I'm not going to mention the area, but apparently if it's going to happen on Saturday, Friday morning, quickly the MPP people will come out and clean on Friday, and then so that they don't join in on the Saturday. So, but at least they can say, look, at least we clean, but not on that day. So maybe you have a strong point there. You have a strong point there. But also for is it necessary to get everybody on board? Don't you just move with your supporters and just move on?
No. If we want to be true to ourselves, we can't go that way. You see, we must draw a line between party interest and national interest. The two are not the same. You know, you need party interest, yes, to have access to power, access to resources and all that. But beyond that, you are into governance. You are responding to the needs, the aspirations of the people. We don't vote for leaders to govern their members of their political party. President Mahama is not president for NDC people. Nana Akufo-Addo shouldn't be president for MPP people. Now, if we go that way in a democratic dispensation, we have failed. then we should go back to the barracks and plead with the military to come in. If democracy doesn't respond to the needs and aspirations of the people, and all the people, not some of the people, we have failed. Sometimes I wish the incoming administration will initiate a program that will sustain the high hopes and interests that we have. Public education. You know, civil society groups, media must be considered as key partners, that we will pick up some of these things. Churches will use their platform to do such education in church, in media also. And they should not trivialize it. And they must listen. Arrogance of power must give way, you know, to the reality that people are expressing. So that even when they are going that way, just giving contract to their own party faithfuls and job for the boys and all that, you know, sometimes things are not right. You raise it, and because the person at the center of it is a party guru, they are untouchables. But ordinary people should be able to raise a voice that, Your Excellency, this is far away from our aspiration. So the point is, when we finish, we are done with politics. We are finished with politics. We are in governance. Everybody counts. So you count everybody, whether in villages, urban, your tribe, not your tribe, religion A, B. Everybody must count in the process. And we can do that when we raise national interest over and above party and all other interests.
I think in addition, in what he said, I've been saying, I'm calling to launch a socio-cultural transformation. Now, what I mean is, you see, in governance, we have two major sectors, the private sector and the public sector. But if you go to every town or in every village, you may not find a school in every village. You may not find a hospital in every village. But there is something you would find in every town, in every village. You find a church or a mosque, and then you will also find a chief. I call that these are the two sectors, the religious sector and the traditional leadership sector. For me, it's like a four table. It's like a table with four legs. We've been building our governance on two legs of the four table, the public sector and the private sector. We must bring in the fifth sector and the traditional chieftaincy, sector. When we do that, we can transform the socio-cultural behavior of the people, just like he said. Then we are bringing everybody on board, and then we can be able to drive the nation. What we need is a socio-cultural transformation, attitudinal change. But that can be done by these two institutions. They must play a major role in this changing process, Nana.
Education. Since our leaders must model the way. There's so much mistrust between citizenry and politicians.
Yeah.
It's not said, but we all believe that politicians are in there for the money. We even believe that, well-to-do businessmen are crooks. I mean, and that perception is there. I mean, what is there for a leader to do for us to believe that this guy is different, and therefore, we should rekindle our faith back again? What is a leader supposed to do?
I think, one, the leader needs to set example. He must walk the talk. You just don't say it, but you demonstrate it. And for example, I think recently Nana Addo was just sharing with I think one of the industry's leaders, and he was saying that if you are coming into government thinking that you will make money, then you are at the wrong place. Because making money is at the business sector, so go there. I think that was a good signal sending. You demonstrate it, so you just don't say it. And then when you are asking people to do something, show by that example. Let your ministers, hold your ministers accountable, and to make sure that they walk the talk. Because people can only be inspired if leaders model the way and say, look, we want to build a united country, and therefore, one, during national programs, we will decorate every area with national colors. No political, color. That is showing the way. When you are asking everybody to sacrifice, you are demonstrating. You are showing the way. You are asking people that, listen, they need to sacrifice, and therefore ministers probably would not have more than 2-3 cars. You are demonstrating that, showing the way. You are asking people to sacrifice, and so for maybe your ministers should cut down their salary. You are showing the way. That, for me, when you do that, you will inspire the followers also to make some level of sacrifice. That, for me, is important.
I'm going to take a quick break here, and when I come back, I want to find out from my two beautiful guests, how much role should the church play going forward in the new governance? In the past, anytime church sophos have come to criticize something wrong, they've been hacked down, put straight into their corner. Moving forward, how much role should the church play in, I don't know, governance? Let me say politics, but in governance. Coming straight back. Well, thank you very much for staying. And the topic today, uniting the nation after elections. After, even though it was a calm and peaceful election, but there was tension, and the stakes were very, very high on these elections. But you know what? We scaled through peacefully. With me in the studio is Bishop Samuel Mensah, President of Full Gospel Church International, and also Reverend Kwabena Okunifrimpong, General Secretary of the Christian Council of Ghana. Just before the break, I wanted to find out, going forward, how much should the church be involved in governance? Let me start with you, Reverend Frimpong.
Yes, let me quickly say that the church doesn't have any constitutional mandate when it comes to governance. We don't have any clauses in our constitution. The church must do X, Y, Z. But if we are serious with our democracy, there must be a strong place for civil society groups. And Ghana today, the biggest NGO is the church. We are the biggest NGO. In fact, the moment United Nations, African Union, they will all recognize faith-based organizations and their leaders as key component in the development process. And it seems to me that is an area our leaders have not seriously considered. Sometimes it's like afterthought. And it's like when they have a need, when they have a problem, there's a flood and they need blood, then they are calling on the church, organize your people, go and donate blood. If you have challenge, Ebola, then they call you into a meeting, do public education with your platform. But when you challenge, why are our roads not fixed properly? You constructed a road 2 years ago, and now you drive through the road, something is the corruption in the system from the auditor generals, and then I ask you, why are you talking like that? How should we talk? We are in together. I must say the past year has not been very easy, the attack, the insult, but I don't think the church will change. The leaders will not change. Yeah. And so our leaders must rather recognize that we need the platform of the religious leaders, not only church, Muslim, traditional leaders. We have audience that is very constant. The people are with us. So when it comes to public education, public sensitization, attitudinal change, one of our institutions, social institution, that must be recognized as strategic partner is a religious leader, faith-based organization. But it seems to me our leaders have not considered that seriously, and it always comes as afterthought, kind of appendix.
Bishop, shouldn't you just stay in the pulpit and let the governance, the politicians run their country, and you stay quote unquote neutral, or pretend to be neutral?
Nana, the problem is that can't help. You see, because the 27 million people, 75% of the 27 million people constitute Christians, who goes to church. And then we have the Muslims, so we have, by and large, this nation is more of a religious nation. And so whatever affects them, the policies of government affect everybody, including the people who go to church. That is why the faith-based institution is very critical in helping shaping the direction of our country. The church can't keep quiet. The church must play a positive role. I also think that maybe as a church, we should redefine our theology. All right? and begin, because when you look at the days of Moses, you know, anytime Moses engaged the people when they were in the wilderness, he spoke and taught about sanitation laws, you know, housing laws, all kinds of health laws, institution, things that they needed to restructure them as a society. We must stop over spiritualizing the pulpit and begin to look at things that will apply and affect the lives of the people. You see, there must be a connection between the pew and the pulpit, so that we must translate our theology into the day-to-day lifestyle of the people. That, for me, is very important. Once we begin doing that, we can address why do we have 75% of the people, and yet a large number of the society still are defecating and still don't care, and they drive on the road at the wrong side of the road, total lawlessness, indiscipline, and yet on Sunday morning they carry their Bibles and go to church. There is something wrong. The pulpit must redefine his role and make sure that the sermons might be much more relevant and practical and address the socio-cultural issues of our society. Translate the theology into the practical lives of our people. That, for me, we have that responsibility to do that.
Nana, if I may come in, even if you consider the developmental history of this country, the churches, I mean, not even everybody, but some churches have gone that way. There are churches in this country with huge investment in education, in health, you know. And so, and I have said it before, I will say it again, that go to the Ministry of Health, go to World Health Organization, and they will tell you that Ghana today, 40% of all health facilities in this country belong to the churches. And they know. And they are under Christian Health Association of Ghana, run by Christian Council of Ghana and Catholic Bishop Conference. 40% out of our resources. And so if you are running governance in this country and you think you can push aside this group, these churches are running universities. These churches are running schools. Take Achimota out, and almost all the best second cycle institutions in Ghana were initiated by the churches. And still, you know, they have interest. So let us respect other institutions and create space for them to make significant contribution, and stop this sometimes arrogance of power that this is our time, this is our season, all must be shut. Some of the churches and Muslim groups were there, and they were into the developmental agenda of this country even before some of these political parties were formed.
Yeah.
You know, so that respect must be given, that recognition must be given. And sometimes you listen to some of these young politicians, and the way they are behaving is that, are you conscious of the trajectory of Ghana's development? You know, do you know where we are coming from? Even the struggle towards independence, read the history and find out the place of our church leaders. You know, in Nkrumah's time, let the blood flow, Rawlings' time, find out the current constitution we are running, the Constituency Assembly that developed it, the then Christian Council of Ghana General Secretary, Reverend David Asante Date, you know, from Ekropon, Kwapim, and Manfi, was part of it. Find out the role the churches have played. So we plead with the incoming administration that the Kufuor's team must give respect to people who deserve it. And arrogance of power must be eschewed.
On that, because of timing, one big subject or one big topic, which I'll start with you, Bishop, is that, well, it's in your notes here, says elections are over. It's time for nation building. Elections are never over in this country. We are in perpetual, to the point that even those who are governing sometimes are still on campaign mode. So I don't know. I think the question is, how do we stop elections to build a nation?
Leadership is key. Again, the president-elect should set the tone, and I believe he's setting the tone. If you look at his language, he wants to unify the country. He wants to do something to build the nation. The media, I believe, also must play a critical role, because sometimes the media is setting the wrong agenda, and almost every moment the media wants to create this tension as if every year is an election year. And so the media must focus and shift their focus from an election year agenda to national developmental issues. Meanwhile, the president-elect should also empower his people that they shouldn't trumpet, you know, whatever they seem to be saying as if it's an election year, and engage them to do what they need to do to bring the nation together. So one, he must set the tone. He must also appeal to the media that, look, this is no more, we are no more in an election year. We would like you to focus on developmental issues. Things that we are not doing right, bring it on board the table. It should not be politicized. The moment you begin to look at things objectively, we will be killing that spirit of politicization and the polarization of our society. That, for me, the leader must play that critical role.
Reverend Pudi, but you see, there's a group who are now waiting that in 4 years' time, look, we'll come back and see if we can have another bite at this pie. How do you tell them not to politicize things? And I mean, there was I'll mention his name now. Cabo, Anthony Cabo, was on Kaba's show, and they were talking about floods. And so Kaba said, look, I'll plead with you that we don't politicize this issue, and then we look at this flood. And he says, Kaba, did you call us here as geologists? Or you called me as a tourist? I'm a politician, so whatever it is, I politicize. Because if you didn't want the issue to be politicized, you should have called geologists or engineers to come. So, I mean, going forward, producers will always bring politicians to discuss whichever.
And I like the direction you are going. I think some of the media houses must revisit their various editorial policies. You see, when we are talking about education, instead of having a panelist of NDC, MPP, and you look at the various morning breakfast shows, MPP, NDC, MPP, NDC, you know, but there are researchers, people who are doing deep academic work, research. Even sometimes the media people who they sent out there to gather the information, when they are doing the conversation, they don't, for instance, when they are reviewing papers, the one who put up the story, they don't call that person that you put this story out there, will you explain what was the body language and all that? Then they bring NDC, MPP. So and so is saying this, what do you say? Then they start. Now, if that can stop, you know, when we are in the politics season and you make things NDC and MPP, then they know they are not geologists, they are not this, they are politicians who need vote. But now that we are into governance, please, let us bring knowledgeable people who are not politicizing, who will be truthful with the facts and reflect the realities of the society without color, without political color. Because if you set up panel, MPP, NDC panel, almost the account programs, the English program, wherever you go in the communities, morning, evening talk shows are all MPP, NDC. We are not being fair to ourselves because they come and they color the issues. Let us get knowledgeable researchers, university professors, people who understand the issues, real technocrats, civil society groups, people who are just reflecting the realities, you know, to be part of the conversation. The public conversation must change. Nana?
I agree.
Also, I still have 1 minute left, and it's one thing that I fear, but I think you go, because all the major platforms, even in analyzing, it's still MPP, NDC. They don't bring any psychologists or sociologists to come and say, look, how did it? No, it's still MPP, NDC. And I can see the crescendo just building up again. So in the next year or so, we'll be in a full-blown MPP, NDC. I mean, how do we stop it?
Everything rises and falls on leadership.
You still think it goes up there?
Everything rises and falls. And leadership at every level. You see, it's just not the ultimate leader, but lead wherever you are. Wherever you find yourself, lead. In the media, they should lead. The minister must lead. The taxi driver must lead. But you see, the president-elect must blow the trumpet. He must call for that unity, the united nation, the united country, and then appeal to the media. I think he should have a very strong media press in the Jubilee House. and then give them a very good office system. Whatever. As at now, what I know is they don't even have any particular office. They go there and hang around and what have you. They must have a very decent office, and then there can be media briefing. One key thing for a leader is communicate, 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 communicate. Let people hear your voice. Let them know where you are taking them to. Let them know the challenges involved, and let them know how you want to bring everybody on board. Ask the media you need them to trumpet your vision and what you should do to bring development. And let the media know you are not interested in politics. During the election year, we can talk about politics and all the things that goes with it.
All right, now one more. You see, arrogance of power must be checked. Your media house, I think they sent some people to, you did a documentary, Adakro also, on water, Joy. And a queen mother was on one of your program with water. That this is the water that my people, we are using, we are drinking and all that. Then you have whatever.
Okay, chief executive, yeah.
Just to say that queen mother was lying.
Wow.
Now, when you do that because you want to politicize, you want to color, you need votes. But the respect that now, why would that woman go on air, go to you with camera, and show that water?
That's a lie.
And you had your audacity because you want your power, you want your party. You can admit, sometimes our leaders must admit, we have solved the problem in station A, we have, now it will be their turn. But the humility to admit is very important, rather than to say that queen mother who came on earth, that was lying. That was not fair.
All too soon, that's what time would allow us. But I always give you this number, 024-366-2001. And if you want a nice shirt like what I wear on the shows, they will make you one Tanti's Fashions. But I want to say condolences to Asante Maing and Asante Hene for the loss of the Asante Hene's mother. And let's announce that the Akwamu delegation will be there or tomorrow to wish sympathies on Asante Maing.
The churches will be there.
Churches are going to be there. Churches are going to be there tomorrow too. So tomorrow we'll be back to do this all over again. Thank you.